Hello, it's Tony here for ExecuNet. Thanks for tuning in. Whether you're currently married, single, in a situation, or in the middle of a breakup or divorce, a poor love life can have a negative effect on your work performance and your business's bottom line. The good news is there's an art to staying in balance while juggling your life, love, career, and family. Joining me today to share her insight is the love designer and relationship reinvention expert, Renée Piane. Let me tell you a little bit about Renée. She's a widely acclaimed inspirational speaker, a TEDx presenter, TV celebrity, radio host, and author of the amazing book, Get Real About Love, The Secrets to Opening Your Heart and Finding True Love. Renée has been a leading voice in the love industry and inspiring people for over 28 years. As the pioneer of the first rapid dating company in America, Renée matched thousands of people for love, business, and friendship over her 29-year career. Her work has been featured on over 75 TV shows and publications, including CNN, NBC, ABC, The Today Show, The Wall Street Journal, The LA Times, and The New York Times. She was voted top international dating coach and is a recipient of the Women's Empowerment Recognition Award. I will add that she's a former workaholic Wonder Woman that has been happily married to the man of her dreams for what has been over 14 years, Renée. That's terrific.
Yes,
and you can learn much more about Renée at her website, which we'll repost in the comment section underneath our video today at www.reneepiane.com. With that intro, Renée, it's so good to be talking to you.
Tony, I've been so excited about this whole interview process since we've been talking, and you've been telling me what executives go through, because most of my clients are busy executives, and many of them don't have time for love. So that's why we're here.
That's totally why
we're here.
Absolutely. So I want to start with you. Tell me about what you do and what led you to this interesting career. It's fascinating stuff.
Well, it's so amazing. I started out originally back in Delaware. I'm 100% Italian. I worked with my family in the catering industry, and I was a beautician, and I was doing image makeovers, and I would design the weddings and get the families together. And I used to notice that half of the people that were getting married, that were paying thousands of dollars, many of them I didn't see as a match. And I used to bet with my dad, I don't know about this, so that led me into doing image consulting for people that were single. And I ended up moving away from my East Coast family because they were pressuring me to get married amongst the hundreds of divorces throughout my family. And I thought, if I'm going to expand my career, I wanted to move to the big city of Los Angeles. So I came out here and I got asked to do image makeover segment for a class to men only back in 1992, and I was in a room full of executives, a whole room full of divorced or shell-shocked single men of all ages, doctors. There was a couple dentists. There was all these busy guys in this room, and that is the night that changed my entire life. And I realized that these guys needed some personal one-on-one help. And I became one of the very first coaches for men in America at that time. So it was the first time I ever was around men. They all were standing in line to talk to me about, can I talk to you privately? They were like, can I talk to you privately? Because I don't want my buddies to know, or my friends and around me to know that I need help with love. Yes. And when I asked that one question that day, who taught men about love? Mostly it was back then Playboy magazine, because the internet wasn't started. So that's when I realized, oh my God, these men didn't have any education. So I became that person for them.
Oh my gosh. So let's stick with that subject before we move on to the different level of help we're going to offer our viewers today. You spent the early part of your career coaching mostly single men for just over a dozen years. What are some of the things you learned from men during that time? I'm sure most of our audience, which is male, is just dying to know what your understanding of them is.
Well, first of all, I really enjoy working with men because I grew up with a lot of Italian men and all my brother's friends. I have a natural knack of giving advice to people without hurting their feelings, because a lot of my brother's friends when I was young would come over and I'd say, well, maybe it could be that outfit you're wearing, you're not getting any game, and I have a way of working with the sensitivity of the hearts of men. I find that especially really high-powered men, and I work with a lot of movie stars, I work with high-powered speakers and executives all over the country, men and women, and a lot of them don't want anybody to know. They're like, shh, don't tell anybody that I have this insecurity about this. And I go, well, it's just because, you learned golf, you learned how to be a doctor, you learned how to be an engineer, but you didn't have love skills weaved in when you were in college. So depending on the age of the man and where he is in his love life, I found that men didn't have this Prince training that all women thought that you knew. And that was a shock to me. And during that time of teaching, I taught at that, it was called the Learning Annex. They have one in New York and they have one in Los Angeles. And for years, famous people would teach from books that they wrote. And from teaching for 13 years, I got asked to do a television show. And I went around the country called Men Across America, and I interviewed thousands of men about where they learned about love, and none of them had learned it from anywhere. It was just fascinating. So I got led into doing a lot of investigation about it. I studied psychology. I got into body language, communications, marketing, and branding. So I literally was helping men package and market and rebrand themselves in the dating game before the Match.com thing started. And it really did put me on the map. And then I pioneered the first speed dating company, and I got to physically see thousands of men and women date in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s from all different cultures and all different generations. So the men that are 50 and up that are back in the dating game haven't really learned what the younger men are learning that are executives. So people are super confused, and men are very private about their personal affairs. Yet they're the ones that need most guidance, because women, we have books, we have seminars, we band together, we talk about men behind your back, and we are analyzing you. At every corner we're saying, oh my God.
We feel it.
You feel it. So I am the sensitive and yet bold and brave woman that has gone out to help men in a very loving and direct way, because men like lists, they like things to do. And so I wrote 2 books that really help a lot of people. And the women, as you know, there's this big movement, and the men are even more frightened now in this crazy world of dating. So I can give you a lot of secrets to help you understand the way women think, and then also give you the exact tools, the tune-up tools to get really ready for love if you're going through a heartbreak or divorce. And when men get hurt through divorce or breakup, sometimes they just don't want to talk about it with anybody. They can't tell their business associates. They don't want anybody at work to know. They don't want to tell women that they're trying to date what's going on, because they lose their confidence. And unless they have somebody to help them through it, sometimes even their therapist can't give them the guidance that I would give them. Right. So I work in conjunction with therapists. They send their clients to me when they're trying to get back, in the game after divorce or heartbreak. So it's fascinating. And it is. In a way, it's a ministry for me. It's like my life work. And this is what I do every day, all day. And I love it. And I have a passion for it, because love is the most important.
And I know that of you, and it's coming right through. And what we started off really as framing our conversation had everything to do with balance, and finding that balance between our love lives, our professional lives. That's a difficult thing, whether you're a male executive or a woman who's in the C-suite. Can you give us some creative ways that our audience might be able to integrate dating into their bustling everyday lives? What are some things they can do differently?
Well, I want to show you this picture. I speak all over the country about the art of balancing love, life, and business, and this is what most of us look like. This says, "Catch
Yes.
me if you can," right? So we're either on the phone, we're workaholics, we're juggling 50 things, right? So if this is you, oftentimes, whether you're single, people, first of all, people have to look at where they are in the spectrum of dating and love, right? We're either married, we're in the midst of a breakup, we're happily married, but we might be out of sync with our partner because we're both workaholics, or one's home taking care of the children and the husband is working, 18 hours a day and never sees the partner. You re-enter the dating game and you're confused, and so you're kind of messed up if your dating life isn't going so well, and you get a little scrambled. And most busy executives have this drive, like me. I had what I teach in my book, Get Real About Love, the once I syndrome. We want to achieve this level of success that, you feel like men especially, they feel like they have to be at a certain level before they can hook up with somebody, because they want to, feel accomplished. They want to feel secure with money. And as you know, with the world, as crazy world as it is right now, everything is up in the air right now, right?
Sure.
So when that happens, it makes people think that they have to be here. Like they'll say, well, once my business is, underway, or once I lose weight, once I buy a home, then I'm going to find love. Sometimes those things never happen. So they put love way into the future. So that's an observation. So what people need to do is to do an evaluation of where they are in their life right now, and how is the condition of their heart. Do they really want love? Do they have blocks from love? So that's part of what I do in my analysis of, quote, their paralysis when it comes to bringing together their work, their family life, and their business life.
And that mindset, certainly, of being the Superman or the Superwoman can really affect your ability to find love, is what you're saying. So how
Okay, I'm sorry. I was going
No,
to say
please
something, but
continue.
go ahead. No,
I
I was
was just
just
going
going
to
to
answer
say
the
that.
question.
Okay, go ahead.
So how do we break that mindset is my question.
Well, I think that, in our society, according to Hollywood, and you look at, I live in Hollywood, in LA, where everything is here, we have this image of what we're supposed to be rather than what we really are. And once you know who you are and what your goals are, I think that it doesn't matter whether you've achieved all of these things. It's a matter of, do you want to share your life with somebody? I myself was a workaholic, and I kept thinking that once these things slowed down a little bit, the more successful I got, the busier I was. And I kept thinking I have to reach this level. But think about it, men and women, all you executives, the busier, the more higher up you go in your career, there's always going to be work. You have to carve out space in your life to make love a priority. No matter how successful you are, I actually wear, when I speak, I actually wear this little cape, and I wear a Wonder Woman cape, and I come out on the stage and I spin around and I say, okay, we all have these great superpowers, but at the end of the day, what good is it if you don't have people to share it with? And that doesn't necessarily mean marriage, but partnerships, good friendships suffer when you're a Wonder Woman and Superman. Your kids could suffer if you're married. Your wife or partner or potential partners might think, my God, you're a workaholic. You don't have any time for love. So I was that woman. I was that busy woman because I pioneered the first speed dating company. So I figured, wow, once I get it in every city, then I'm going to slow down to find love. And that is not what happened. That wasn't my experience. Men, there's a thing here. If you look here, it says, catch me if you can. That was me. So how many of you, I'm asking you, the audience, how many of you keep saying, well, once this is done, or you're always flying here, flying there, and you think that somebody's just going to suddenly fall into your life if you don't carve out sacred space in your life to think about what you really need in your life to balance your life out so that you can have the career, you can have love and success all at the same time. It is possible because I've done it. I've done it.
Absolutely. So let's talk, Renee, about the executive who, in fact, is married or in a long-term relationship, but perhaps the spark has left and they want to reignite a level of connection with their significant other that they feel is long absent. What are some ways they can do that?
Well, I actually will be happy to give anybody this. I'm going to read some tips from this because I think that with the thousands of people that I've coached for the last, gosh, it's been, 20 some years, I hear this as the biggest problem. Now, this isn't just only for married people. This is for busy workaholic single people like me that it was out of sync with my family. This goes for your family, whether because if you're single or married, right? These things can also affect every area of your life, your family
Sure.
life, your friendship life, and your business. So if you're out of sync, most couples, there's sort of an energy vibe that's happening, right? With the technology overload and all the stress of work and kids and everything, the social media has taken over people's lives, right? So I say couples stop appreciating each other. They distance themselves. They find themselves pulling away from, romantic encounters because one or the other is ignoring, the need for connection, right? So the lack of connection causes tension. And then you have this tone of voice, like one or the other of you will start to say, hey, when are we gonna get together? And they're not in sync. You're out of sync with each other's energy. Like, it's really all about energy. When my husband is stressed with work, I can tell just by the tone of his voice. I can tell by the way he's acting. So he used to work around the clock. We're both very busy people. So I use myself as an example. When we get out of sync, we have symbols that we use, and I want to go and get it really quick. I forgot to put it on my table. Hold on. This is very, very important.
Sure.
All right. I am so sorry. This is something that is so simple and so beautiful. I advise every couple to have a heart in their house. Okay, so this heart represents your connection with your beloved, right? So whenever any of my clients get married, I always buy them a heart, and I say this heart is a connecting point. So if you are out of sync with your partner, I would advise either you as a man or a woman to go out and find one of these or buy them online and use this and put it next to the bed or on your partner's desk and say, it's time for us to have a heart-to-heart. You're the person that I have chosen to love, and we are out of sync. I really would like to have a connection with you. Now, a lot of couples, when one or the other is working overtime, and this happened to me, my husband was working for an Indian company. He was working around the clock. I was getting upset, and I thought, gosh, I have to take my own advice, right? So it's all about when you speak to your partner, the timing of when you do it, the tone of your voice, and using your touch. So if you're out of sync with your partner, and when I'm wearing my costume on stage, I usually show people, I would go up to my husband and put my hands on his shoulders and rub his shoulders, and I'd say, sweetheart, I miss you. I miss us. And then I'd put the heart on the table. And I'd say, I really want to get in touch with your heart soon. So let's schedule some time to connect. If you use the tone, you know what? We need to talk. We need to talk. That puts the person on the defensive. They could be in the middle of a big project that they're trying to finish because they know you're upset. And I know this happens in my house. My husband's presenting all the time. He's in healthcare. And he has these big presentations, just like I was preparing today. He came down and wanted to talk. And I said, sweetheart, after this presentation's over, we'll talk. We'll connect. We'll go to lunch later. So you need to have new energy frequencies happening in your life. If you're negative, have negative energy for a couple of weeks, it means it's time for a heart on. Like, so I always put the heart down and I use this, and it really, I'll say, you know, you want to have some loving later, we got to get heart to heart, because once the sexual energy gets disconnected, right, and one partner pulls away and the other partner's frustrated because you're trying to get attention, you have to look at both sides of the story. If you're a man and you think that, you know, your partner is supposed to just connect with you romantically suddenly after ignoring you for weeks and weeks and weeks, he or she needs to know that, right? So it's a matter of you connecting gently rather than being defensive, because as soon as you pull away, it's like a rejection. And if it happens again and again and again, somebody has got to break the wall, that energy wall that's there. You know what I mean, right? You know, that energy
I do,
wall.
and I wanted to pick up on the theme we're covering and bring it into the context of what we're all experiencing, which is certainly the coronavirus outbreak. But one consequence of that is many of us are working from home. And those
That's
who
right.
are feeling and are married or have significant others with whom they live are now spending a lot of time together. Renee, what do you think could happen here? What would you like to see happen, and how can we make it happen, I think is the question.
I think it's an opportunity for couples to really get back in sync with each other. I mean, look at life. Like to me, what happened to me personally was my husband got hit by a car. This was a while back. He got hit by a car and I got hit with an aneurysm at the same time. It reminds me of the same thing. We got put together at home at the same time when we were both used to being apart from each other. It brought us closer together. I believe that this virus is not only bringing communities together, it's bringing couples back together. It's going to bring families closer. But if you're a workaholic, you're probably not used to being around your partner that much. Or sometimes they don't understand the level of your stress at work. And perhaps by working at home, it might help them to understand exactly what you do. I mean, I never realized the immensity of how much my husband worked. He's not allowed to go anywhere, right? So he's upstairs putting presentations together, and I was up there watching him. I'm like, this is awesome, like watching what he's doing. To acknowledge the passion that your partner might be putting into work if they're working from home. And if it's the stress of not having a job, then it's going to be putting the pedal to the metal to really making the effort to realize how blessed we are to have a partner. There's many, many people that are alone right now. I've been getting calls from people all over, and I said, I feel that it's still time. We all have to go to the store still. I know we're not supposed to go out a whole lot, but we really need to stay connected with your friendships and your partners outside of the home as well. But I look at this as a time for us to do little projects at home on the weekends that we've always said, oh, we're going to do this someday, you know, like the garage. Everybody has a garage. Or a project like I do a vision board every year. I don't know if any of you as business people, most people that are in business put love sort of on the back burner sometimes. So I think this is a time for families to connect, lovers to connect deeper, and being appreciative of the blessings that you do have in your life to really evaluate your marriage, you know, really taking time to sit with your partner. Now, I have a sheet that I could send to every single one of your listeners that are married. And then there's another one for those that are single. So if people get a hold of me, and we'll give you that information later, I'll give you this. And it gives you a step-by-step on the questions to ask, the things to say, if you are out of sync. So if you're in a marriage that's out of sync, this is going to be a time for you to put things straight and to really bond back together. And it does happen with hundreds. I work with a lot of couples as well. And sometimes they don't even realize how they're being by the stress of someone's work affects their sexual energy, right? Sometimes high-powered men and women that are working and striving to keep the home afloat with money you as a partner feel disconnected romantically, but you don't realize they need that nurturing too, and that appreciation. It's all about appreciation. So I'm constantly thanking my husband for all that he does for our family and nurturing him. And some people are like, I'm not going to do that. We haven't been connected in a long time. If you've made a marriage vow, a sacred vow to love and honor this person through good times and in bad and in sickness and in health, and now we have this. They didn't put coronavirus on your vows, but this is part of life. So we need to all band together in communities. Friends need to help other friends that might need it, but especially partners to really get closer during this time. That's what we were just saying. This is going to be fun. We're going to do some things we haven't gotten to do, because I'm always on the run, flying out to speak somewhere at a conference, and he's always running. So we're going to use this time to even spice up our marriage even more. I think it's our obligation and also my desire to do that.
Yeah.
And one partner, if you're the partner that's pulling back, I would advise you to take it upon yourself to say, this isn't what I signed up for. Let's connect. Let's connect.
What a wonderfully refreshing view you have on relationships. And I want to underscore the nurturing part and communication, be it verbal or otherwise, with the heart or with words or touch. It's such a well-rounded connection value that you're proposing to us. For our viewers who want to work with you, what can they expect? Give us a glimpse of what it's like to work with Renée Piane.
Well, it's very personal. When people hire me, especially I have busy executives call me all the time. They're like, I'm embarrassed to say, but I work all the time, and I have this woman that I'm dating, but I know she's not the one. What should I do? How can I get out of something and to open my heart up to something new? They're afraid because the dating game changes all the time. So I literally have packages where I help people, and I've done it with people literally from around the world. Algeria. I've worked with people. It's very easy now with the technology if you live far away, but I work one-on-one with people. I give them reading materials and steps, and then this would be one-on-one. And I've actually helped people fall in love from all over the world, helping them set up their profiles, looking at how they market and brand themselves. I can actually go through a whole look at where they live and their clothing and everything over the phone to give them, I can even style them over the phone. If I know their size, I can tell them where to shop, what to buy, on how to get themselves in the dating game, and also take a look at how they're presenting themselves and the way they describe themselves. So it's very personal. They get my books and they get me for a certain amount of hours. And then we had talked about getting, I do host classes. So I was going to host a 6-week class for men, and I already do those now, where they can learn the steps in a group setting if they don't want to do one-on-one. So that's what I do all day long, and I want to offer all of that to your clients. And it's so deep and personal. And then if they feel an urge or they think that I might be the right person for them, because any coach, any successful person that is like you are ExecuNet, you have coaches that teach them about all these other aspects, of their life. But I always say, all this success without love, what is it good for? So if you're finding yourself heartbroken and you doubt yourself and you want to get back in the game, I can help you with that. Or if you want to spice up your marriage, I could do one-on-ones with you and your wife and then get you together, or if you live in California, people come and see me. I take them shopping, redo their whole love nest. I redo people's homes. I'm a designer. I'm a love designer. So I look at all areas of their life. And if I can't help them personally and they want somebody closer to them, I have partners that other people that I could recommend to do certain aspects of what I do. And I can help them find love. It's just a natural gift that I have.
And what a wonderful promise, helping people find love. And knowing you, I know that it is probably so rewarding for all involved to have that experience and that close touch with you. Renee, thank you so much for making time and talking to us today. And I look forward to continue our conversations in the future. I'm sure that our audience of senior level people will gain so much by learning how to strike that balance and reignite the sparks or save the relationship and help it in fact flourish. So I look forward to more from you. Thank you.
Well, I would like to say one thing. If somebody's interesting to get real about love, they can pick up my book on Amazon. And this is the book. It's called Get Real Love by Getting Real About It. I know you've looked at it, and it makes you look at your life and where you are in the dating game. This is for people that are getting back in the game of love. And I am going to be writing a lot of stories of how people are wired about love. So it's very important for you to realize that the career that you've chosen, the relationship that you've chosen, usually is based on your role models and imprints from your parents and the way you were wired. Now, I got led into this because I saw divorce and divorce and divorce throughout my whole life. So I've dedicated my life to helping people to choose properly the person that you marry. And if you have chosen to understand that your love imprints in there sometimes aren't exactly aligned, but there's always healing and there's always growth that marriage brings to the table. And if you can learn about it, it could enhance your marriage. So whether you're single or married, reading the book might help you to understand the way your partner was wired, and it could actually reignite your marriage by having some healing techniques shown to you so that you can move forward with your life in a new way.
Yes, and I'm more than partway through with it, and I will share with our viewers. The stories are rich and teach you a whole lot about yourself, and it's just a wonderful read. So I encourage everyone to pick it up and learn from it. Renee, thank you again, and we'll be talking soon, I'm sure.
Well, it was a pleasure to be a part of your audience, and I know with the passion that you have for your business, try putting some of that passion into your home and your children and your love life, and then you can have that balance. And there's so much more to share, and I'd be happy. You'll be getting some little gifts from me. And Tony, thank you for sharing my passion and my work with executives, because that's exactly who I think needs it the most, because you people are ruling the world. But make sure you make love a priority in your life as well. And blessings to all of us as we go through this healing process for the whole world. It's really a great time to still not be alone, but to give all of that love in your heart to your neighbors and people close to you, and especially your beloved and your children. So bless you all, and thank you so much for this opportunity to share my passion.
Thank you, Renee.